What a fun first day. It was kind of long, but I had a good time. Uh, that last class I had, health and nutrition in the digital age, that was really interesting. I feel like it's gonna be a fun class. I'm looking forward to learning stuff in it. But I feel like it's gonna be stuff I already know, like how to be healthy. I don't know. It seems pretty simple, right? Try to go to the gym, lift a lot of weights. The more weights you lift, I think you'll get more muscles, like bigger muscles. And then you gotta eat a lot of protein and stay away from junk food. And I think you should be healthy, if you do those things. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I think that class is gonna be pretty easy. Being healthy, how hard could that be? Oh, wow. We still have a lot of work to do for health and nutrition. It's a lot of reading. We have to learn about the human body, food and nutrients inside of it, stress, and about substance abuse. It's gonna be a lot of reading, and I don't really know why there's so much reading. This stuff seems pretty straightforward. Oh well, time to get to work. Our bodies are essentially composed of cells. They're like the building blocks. When the same types of cells are put together towards the same goal, they form tissues like bones, cartilage, muscles, and nerves. And then most of the time, when two or more tissues are put together for the same goal again, they create organs. So organs are like kidneys, the skin, and the liver. And then if you put several organs to cooperate and achieve the same purpose, they're going to create an organ system. So the respiratory system and the digestive system. All these things are essential for life and create your body as a whole together. All the cells are a basic structural and functional unit of the body. There are over more than 200 types in the body, and they all have a very complex structure as shown below. When it comes to tissues, they are formed by cells, as mentioned earlier. However, not all cells that make them are identical. There are four primary tissue types within the body: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. Within these groups, different forms of these tissues can have very different appearances and functions. However, when they are put together to form an organ, they create an organism that is typically self-contained and has a specific vital function. And when these organs are grouped together, they create organ systems that work together to carry out a particular task which is essential for life. Oh wow, that's really crazy. Our bodies are a lot more complicated than I thought they would be. It's like we have cells that are these super small, complicated things that, can't do much alone, like an individual cell, even though they're very complex. But as a team, you put one cell together with another cell, they keep growing, and eventually they, create a tissue which can accomplish more than cells can. And then, those tissues form organs, and then those organs create organ systems. But at the end of the day, it's just groupings of cells that are growing and growing and growing, and then that's what keeps us alive. That's insane. Um, I wouldn't have thought that everything we do and we need to stay alive is based on this tiny little cell. Huh. Interesting class. I guess I'll keep reading now. So what's next? Hmm. Food and nutrition. Let's see. Let's see what that holds. Nutrients maintain the health of organ systems by providing a variety of materials that are essential to their proper function. Various nutrients are involved in maintaining various bodily functions. Nutrients involved in energy metabolism, such as carbs, fats or lipids, and proteins, provide your body with the energy it needs to function. Once metabolized, carbs and protein provide 4 calories per gram, while lipids or fats provide 9 calories per gram. Thus, these are known as energy nutrients. However, to produce energy, the body needs vitamins and minerals, which don't directly provide energy, but they are an essential part in the creation process. For example, minerals that are involved in energy metabolism include iodine, chromium, manganese, and sulfur. For instance, iodine supports energy regulation. Other minerals and vitamins serve somewhat similar functions. As shown in this diagram, our diet provides us with energy and non-energy nutrients. With with those, our bodies use the non-energy nutrients to break down the energy nutrients in order to be able to process and metabolize them into energy. And if the energy intake is greater than the output, then the excess energy is stored as fat. However, providing energy is not the only thing that nutrients do for us. Nutrients assure vital functions that keep us alive, such as maintaining water and electrolyte balance, serving as antioxidants, maintaining our blood healthy, and many others through a series of intricate chemical reactions.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. There's so much more to our diets than I ever would have guessed. Essentially, the foods that we eat keep us alive as they contain nutrients that play a fundamental role in allowing our organ systems to work properly. Huh, damn. I think the most astonishing part to me is that how that there's so little nutrients compared to how many roles that they really play in our body. And that's most eye-opening because it shows us how important food really is for us. Uh, I'm really excited to learn more about food. Let's see what else is in these notes.
Foods are essentially made up of chemicals that contain either some or all nutrients. The main purpose of eating food is to replace nutrients that have been used by our body for energy, maintenance, growth, and repair. Various types of food contain specific nutrients, therefore, there's a recommended amount they should be consumed in order to make sure that your body receives the optimal amount of nutrients through a well balanced diet, healthy diet. There are two major categories for food: plant based foods and animal based foods. Plant based foods include greens, vegetables, seeds, legumes, fruits, nuts, sugar, and oil.
Grains are edible seeds of various plants belonging to the grass family. Whole grains contain carbohydrates, starch plus fiber, lipids, proteins, and some vitamins and minerals, and water. The Canadian Food Guide suggests 6 to 8 servings of grains. Vegetable is a term applied to many varieties of garden plants used for food. Usually, vegetable plants have soft stems. Vegetables also contain carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. However, the nutritional variability among different vegetables exists. The Canada Food Guide suggests 4 servings of vegetables. Fruits are part of the plant family. They usually come from bushes and trees that develop from the fertilized ovary of the flower that houses the ovule that once developed into a seed. A fruit results from maturation of one or more flowers. Most fruits have higher water content, which is about 80 to 95%, and contain 13 to 25 grams of carbohydrates, so fructose. And fruits are also rich in soluble and insoluble fibers, known as their vitamin C content. The Canada Food Guide suggests 3 to 4 servings of fruit. Nuts are any large, oily kernel found within the shell and is used in food. Most nuts have higher lipid content, mainly unsaturated, fiber, some protein, vitamins, and minerals. Seeds are capable of producing new plants. Most seeds have higher lipid content, mainly unsaturated, fiber, some protein, vitamin, and minerals. The Canada Food Guide doesn't have a specific requirement for servings for these two, as they serve as alternatives to animal-based foods. There are also important byproducts of plant-based foods that are significant within our diet, such as sugar and oil, which contribute flavor in many ways to the food we eat. On the other hand, we have animal-based foods, which include meat, fish, egg, milk, cheese, and fat. Meat refers to the flesh of animals, mainly of mammals. The common types of meat include beef, veal, lamb, pork, and poultry. Meat contains water, protein, lipids, and some minerals, and some vitamins. Fish relates to creatures that are harvested from the water, and they provide protein, lipids, vitamins, and minerals. An egg contains the germ of new life. Eggs from chicken are widely used. Egg yolk represents 30% of eggs' weight and is dense in many nutrients. The egg white represents 53% of the egg's weight and is made up of water and protein. Milk is secreted by female mammals for the nourishment of their young, and the main carbohydrate that it contains is lactose, but it also contains protein, vitamins, and minerals, and can be used to make cheese, but cheese can also be made from other things. And milk is also used to create fats such as cream, but like cheese, cream fat could also be made from Moreover, as mentioned earlier, in order to have a healthy diet, one must have a balanced one. And this can be achieved by following recommendations made by things such as My Plate or the Canada Food Guide. But in order to do so, one must know how to measure the food they consume. The following are ways to measure food in order to keep track of consumption. Wow, there's so much more to a healthy diet than I ever would have thought. In the big picture, it's basically like our body needs nutrients in order to function properly, but not every single food has the nutrients that our body needs. So we need to have a particular amount of certain foods in order to have the right variety in our diet to get the nutrients that our body needs to function. Man, I can't believe the intricacies of food. Being healthy is a lot more complicated than I thought, especially because I'm sure all the other aspects of health and wellness, such as fitness, stress, and substance abuse, are also complex and intricate.
Health wise, fitness has several components, which are cardiorespiratory fitness, muscular strength and endurance fitness, flexibility, and body composition. A balance across these components implies a healthy level of fitness. Cardiorespiratory fitness is the capability of your heart, lungs, and circulatory system to take in, absorb, and use oxygen, and it is improved through specific activity usually involving a large number of muscle groups and is sustained for a long length of time. Muscular endurance is the capacity of your muscles or a group of muscles working together to maintain continued contraction against a low or moderate resistance. Muscular strength is the force effectiveness of a muscle group or of muscles. Muscular endurance and muscular strength function in complement to each other. There is a continuum that ranges from strength at one end to endurance at the other end. Flexibility is the mobility of joints and their associated soft tissue structures. Flexibility is highly site specific. Therefore, if one is flexible on the upper half of their body, they will not be. This does not mean that they are flexible on the bottom half. Flexibility is divided into static and dynamic classifications. Static flexibility involves slow lengthening of muscles, either by natural movement or by adding external pressure at the end point and then holding the position. Dynamic flexibility, however, refers to the range that can be achieved through movement, in which the muscles is continuously lengthened and shortened, but is not held at an end point. Body composition is the proportional segmentation of body weight into lean and fat constituents. The healthy range for men are between 13 and 17%, with 25% and more being considered obese. So, being fit does not just mean having large muscles gained by lifting a lot of weights at the gym. I had no idea. I'm really going to have to change my approach to exercising in order to really be fit and healthy. Uh, I guess all those magazine ads and articles I've read about, getting ripped, didn't really mean getting healthy. It's really interesting. Learning about food and fitness has been rattling. How could have my perceptions about healthy living have been so off base? Hmm. I think it's time for a change. I'm going to learn more about stress and substance abuse. as we talked about it in class. We will be talking about it in class, and then I will begin my transformation towards a true healthy lifestyle by following the challenges set for us in this class. All right, I'm excited and I'm ready for this. Alrighty, so stress. What we learned in class is that stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances, and that can have a detrimental effect on health to the point where it reduces life expectancy. Therefore, individuals must learn how to effectively manage and cope with stress in order not to be able to consumed by it. There are many breathing techniques that allow people to do just this. So let's check them out. Breathing is a process that delivers oxygen and removes carbon dioxide in the body. The other process involves transport in the blood system by the circulatory system. The breathing patterns influence energy levels, concentration, and performance of internal organs. Its mechanism involves multiple parties that each play a necessary part in the breathing process. Research on breathing exercises has shown that mastering them can improve the parasympathetic nervous system, improve cardiac function, decrease the effect of stress, and improve both mental and physical health. Some practice examples of these techniques are cleansing, energizing, hugai, de-stress, and pain relief. I personally prefer the pain relief technique. It's the one that seems the most relevant and compatible to the type of person I am and the type of stress that I feel that I experience. Yeah, I think I'm going to use that one. Also, moreover, when it comes to substance abuse, the idea is pretty straightforward. Abusing substances has a negative effect on health and must therefore be monitored in order to make sure that people don't harm themselves with the substances they consume. Wow, we covered a lot of stuff about diets, fitness, stress, and substance abuse. These readings and classworks that were assigned have been quite informative, and I think I'm ready to take on the challenges that are waiting for me. Alright, let's go. Let's do this. Okay, so before I can change my lifestyle, I have to see where I am right now to be able to see where I must go to transform. This will be done across 4 journals and some other stress and substance abuse challenges. So, let's get going. So, for this first journal, I had to have to watch this TED Talk, which was great. It was this TED Talk by this guy named Robert Waldinger, and he did a study at the University of Harvard. In that study, they studied a group of men from the time that they were like teenagers until they reached the age of 90. Um, so basically, how they did this study was they separated these people into 2 groups. The first one were composed of Harvard students, and the other were men from the poorest parts of Boston. And throughout the study, they learned that good relationships lead people to be happier and healthier. This TED Talk really emphasized the positive effect social connection have on us. Uh, a lot of people have, well, this is kind of thought provoking, I'd say, just because a lot of people have difficulty establishing strong relationships, and I feel that this is one of those things that is easier said than done. And also, it's astonishing how significant an impact that people can have on each other. Oh well, this, if anything, this TED Talk really clarifies the complexities of what truly being healthy is, as we traditionally believe it has something to do with the exercise and nutrition that we have. Well, one thing that this TED Talk did was it made me see relationships in a whole new light and made me start seeing them as a lot more powerful than we give them credit to be.
It's a great day at school today. Hmm. In health and nutrition, we basically took the meal plans that we created, like we documented for ourselves, and we inputted them into MyFoodPro in order to see like what nutrition content we're really receiving from the food that we eat. And now, I think I'll start my journal two, my journal 2 plus 3. So for that, basically, I have to take the information I got today from class by inputting all my food, and then I have to analyze it by giving it characteristics and a nutritional profile.
Essentially, at the heart, my diet is considered inefficient in many ways. Most nutrients are, however, present, but not in adequate amounts. My diet is dominated by meat products, as I try to exclude sugar and other carbohydrates in order to lose fat. And my diet does not contain the recommended amount of any food, or most foods, such as grain, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, etc. However, this insufficient pattern of quantities is broken down by my intake of protein, which is 8.42 ounces, while the recommended is 7 ounces. It is evident that my diet is inadequate and unbalanced, therefore, is considered that my body is not receiving the proper quantity of nutrients needed to be healthy and function properly. To involve muscular strengthening exercises, which are done through weightlifting. So I'll train specific muscles on specific days, usually alternating between upper body and lower body. It's a very mundane and traditional workout where I do not many sets of very little reps, but at a very high weight in order to push my muscles to contract at a very high power, therefore working on muscular strength. So I follow this routine on a weekly basis, going to the gym between 4 to 6 times a week, depending on how available I am. Um, but that being said, from what I've learned earlier from the notes and class discussions, I am not training any aspect of cardiorespiratory fitness, muscular endurance, or flexibility. And without those things in my exercise routine, I cannot consider myself fit in a healthy sense. All right. Well, I think I should put that into writing, write down journal 4, and get ready to start my challenges.
And when it comes to stress, I scored a 77 on the test, meaning that I'm not at health risk due to stress, but that doesn't mean that I don't have stress that needs to be coped with properly. Moreover, for substance abuse, I'm in a good spot because I do not drink or partake in any drugs due to religious reasons, as my religion prohibits them. Therefore, I am ahead of where I should be there, as I don't really have a problem to track or improve on. Alright, so now that I know where I stand within all the components of health and wellness, let's begin these challenges in order to finally be able to improve myself. Let's start with the diet challenges. Okay, so we as a class have been challenged to create for ourselves a healthy diet. And the first step in doing so is to figure out what our body needs, as every individual's body is different. And this is going to be done through the challenge of week 9, which is to create a healthy diet template by considering how many servings of each nutrient I should consume depending on my energy requirements and the required balance between carbs, proteins, and fats, as each serving delivers a particular amount of nutrients and there is a recommended amount of servings, as that is how much our body needs for optimal health and function. So, let's get started on this challenge. Here is the energy division that is best for me, and the proportion of foods that I will be eating depending on my taste and preference. Now, for week 10, I have to build on my work from week 9 and find foods that fit the template I created for myself and also contain an adequate amount of vitamins and minerals, as non energy nutrients are as important as energy nutrients, as I saw in my notes and in class discussion. Alright, so to find foods that I enjoy eating that will give me the amount of energy I need and the amount of minerals and vitamins that my body needs is going to be a bit of a difficult task. I'm going to have to look at the nutrition facts for various foods. I really hope chocolate has some good nutrition facts. Sadly, it doesn't. Nutrition facts are provide information on the food's carbohydrate, protein, and all other nutrient contents. So I'm gonna have to research the nutrition facts on multiple foods and find what best fits my needs. Let's get going. The following are the foods that I have selected according to my preference that will provide adequate amounts of vitamins and minerals and also fit the required amount of servings template I created for myself in week 9. And now for the challenges of week 11 and 12, I have to put all my work together from the previous weeks. I'm going to have to create 3 meals based on the work I did in week 10 and week 9. This is very important because this is the actual food that I will be eating, what I'm going to be consuming to get the nutrients and to actually have a proper diet. So I'm going to plan out these meals based on the foods that I selected last week and by looking up several recipes that I find appealing to me and to my taste. These are the meals I've created for myself, keeping in mind the variety I should keep in my diet in order to get all the necessary nutrients. So the challenges that have been set for us in this class regarding fitness have to do with creating a workout schedule or routine that is going to help us become truly fit. What that means is it will exercise all components of fitness by incorporating activities to your weekly schedule that exercise cardiorespiratory fitness, muscular endurance and strength, and flexibility. Altogether, they will eventually aid your body composition. So, let's start these challenges. Now, for the following challenges for week 10, 11, and 12, I'm going to have to add activities to the same workout schedule I'm currently following that are going to include the other components of fitness, so muscular endurance and strength, and flexibility. So again, instead of just making the same old boring traditional ones, such as stretching before a workout, like a regular static stretch, we are to incorporate an activity that is going to cover stretching through the way it's practiced. So the actual activity involves flexibility improvement because you cannot perform the activity without improving flexibility. And the same goes for muscular endurance and strength. People traditionally follow weight training to improve those categories, but we are to find an activity that can do both. So, for me personally, I've always been a big fan of the martial arts. Since I was young, I have thoroughly followed them on TV and on the web, and I've just always enjoyed them. So, for my muscular endurance and strength training, I decided to take up kickboxing. Kickboxing works on both ends because it is a sport that lasts 12 rounds of constant movement where you are to deliver punches and kicks very rapidly. So you're going to keep your muscles active at the high, like you're going to be you're going to be straining your muscles constantly for a prolonged period of time, and it's going to be at a mixed intensity because sometimes you're going to have to reserve your strength to deliver stronger blows. So you have both ends of the spectrum where you're going to be using your muscles rapidly and continuously for muscular endurance, and then at times you're going to be forcing them to deliver a high-powered contraction, thus working on muscular strength. So kickboxing involves mixed intensity, but it is able to hit both sides of the spectrum. Usually, these activities are just going to last between 36 and 96 minutes, depending on how many rounds of practice, and then I am going to recover from it. When it comes to flexibility, I'm going to practice Tai Chi, another form of martial arts. Tai Chi is practiced very slowly and focuses a lot on breathing. So, how it works is an individual is to hold several ancient poses that are going to cause your muscles to stretch because because the positions call for this to happen. So over a prolonged period of time, you're going to be transitioning through several positions, which each are going to be stretching certain muscle groups, all while focusing largely on your breathing and calming yourself down. And together, with running, kickboxing, and Tai Chi, I'm able to hit all components of fitness. Here is the workout plan that I followed initially before I gained the knowledge that I did through this class. It is a very traditional workout oriented around going through the gym. Whereas here is the final product of my workout schedule, which incorporates activities which are going to improve all components of fitness. Also, this workout plan also takes into consideration the amount of time I have regarding school and work. For instance, on days where I have a heavier workload, such as Fridays when I work longer shifts, I dedicate less time to exercise. So, the stress challenges that we have been given involve recognizing when we are stressed, being able to alleviate stress temporarily through breathing techniques, and to develop constructive coping mechanisms, as well as addressing the source of our stress if it is due to procrastination or inefficient time management. For the challenge of week 9, we have to learn about breathing techniques and apply one breathing technique to a situation that has interfered with our usual breathing pattern. So basically, experiencing stress that has caused a change in us. I think for that challenge, I know exactly what I could talk about. Um, Basically, I went to high school at Cooper Academy, and we recently found out that a student in Sec 3 named Jacob Buckley committed suicide in the school. When I got this news, it was very distressing. I remember being in a very strong state of anxiety, just because knowing that I had a similar experience as this kid. I was in the same environment as him. I know a lot of the teachers that are there, so just trying to understand all that and getting my head around everything that happened um, really made me incredibly anxious, and I remember breathing very heavily and very strong. Even when I thought back to it a few days after the first hearing the news, I still had a difficult time with it. So one of the following times when my mind went to that situation, I decided to use the de-stress technique, as I thought that it would suit me best. When I did practice the technique, I did it sitting in a chair, and I found that focusing on my breathing really helped me alleviate some of the stress I was feeling. The more I would focus on inhaling through my nose and exhaling, I would keep my mind off other things. And I felt that after a while of doing it, I began to become more normal. From this, like I became more normal compared to the change that my body was experiencing due to the news and the stress. Here is the official entry to the first challenge. Now, for week 10, our challenge is to analyze whether ineffective time management or procrastination are partially responsible for our stress by keeping a stress awareness diary. Also, we are to watch a TED Talk and give what we thought of the TED Talk in response to it. The precedent is my response to this challenge, which is highlighted by the fact that the nature of my stress is not due to ineffective time management or procrastination. And finally, the challenges for week 11 and 12 involve around uh, realizing whether we have constructive coping mechanisms or not. So the way the challenge works is we are given a 22 question test, which is simply on a yes or no basis, and based on our answers, we will find out whether the nature of our coping is constructive or not. After I've answering these 22 questions, I found out that my stress management is constructive. However, I was unaware that my stress is caused by not confronting stressful events, as I usually just avoid them as much as possible. Given this realization, I think I'm going to start trying to confront my problems head on, which might seem a little tougher at first, but given this analysis and everything I've learned, long term, the stress caused by these events won't eat away at me in the back of my head. When it comes to substance abuse, I couldn't really partake in much of the challenges because my religion prohibits the use of alcohol. I prefer a very bland diet and usually do not partake in any herbs, and I don't take supplements simply because I do not believe in them first of all, and also my family doctor has advised against them because of some private medical conditions. But however, the challenges that were given to us were first to keep track of our alcohol consumption through 3 weeks. The second was to keep track of our herb and spice consumption in cooking. And third, it was to summarize the data that we've gathered through the keeping track of all three of these and finding which of the three areas we find that we're most concerned. However, despite usually not having had a diet with a lot of herbs and spices, I would like to learn more about them and hopefully add a little bit of flavor to my diet. For this reason, in the 5% bonus of the electronic portfolio, I will be discussing a specific herb. In closing, I've learned a lot this semester about what being healthy and having real wellness really is. And I feel that I've come a long way through these challenges and understanding this and making it a part of my life. And I truly believe that with the knowledge I've gathered, I might be able to make a lifestyle change. Mostly because I truly feel like I should. Before this class, I was very ignorant to what health really was, and I thought I was for sure healthy. I went to the gym a few times, I didn't always eat junk food, but that's not the reality of the situation. There's a lot more to health and really being healthy. And I feel like if I can really incorporate these like practices into my like day-to-day routines and make them a part of my life, I might be able to make a difference in my quality of living and down the road be able to live until 100.